everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Darian and today I am going to be doing the coffee book tag. So I will leave the original video in my description down below, and I was tagged by Ansu from Read with Ansu. If you aren't subscribed to Ansu yet, please go subscribe. I will leave her link down below as well. She also just announced that she's starting a book club that will be starting in September. So definitely go check that out because it's gonna be amazing, and yeah, just I love Ansu, so go check her out. Basically, this is just another tag video with questions relating to coffee. I love coffee. It gets me through. So yeah, let's just get started. So the first prompt is Black Coffee, a tough book to get into, but it has diehard fans. So I chose a series, and I chose the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. This series is so popular, like I feel like everyone has read this series already but me. All I know about it is that it is a high fantasy series with some great characters, I hear, and my brother, it's his favorite series of all time, I think, right? And I do have all the books that are out so far, and there is a new book coming out in November, I want to say, and everyone's so excited about it, but I am so intimidated by these books because they're all like over 1,000 pages long, and I don't read very fast. Like, even if I love it, it'll still take me a while to read, probably. So I'm just so, I don't know why, I'm just so intimidated to read these, and I think it's just the fact that I know it'll take me a while to read them. So I'm like, part of me is like, well, in the time I could read that book, I could read like 3 other books instead. So I know one day I just have to bite the bullet and start the first one, and I'm sure that I will get into it so much and that I won't want to stop reading them, and that I'll be so happy that I started them, but I'm just so nervous. And also, like, the fact that it's high fantasy, like, I feel like the beginning, at least for me, the beginning of high fantasies, I'm always like kind of confused about what's going on, and you have to get used to the world and stuff like that. So I don't know, I'm just intimidated, but I know I need to read them. My brother will be really happy when I read them one day, and I know Katie will too. Katie from Brightness Katie Reads. But yeah, I'll read it one day, I promise, but yeah. So the next prompt is Peppermint Mocha, a book that is popular during the holiday season. I'm assuming this means the Christmas holiday season, since that's when peppermint type drinks are popular. The book I chose I don't think is too popular, but it's really the only like holiday themed book that I've read besides like The Night Before Christmas. But I chose One Day in December by Josie Silver. I read this last December and I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. It's one of my favorite books ever. I love this book so much. I know like a decent amount of people have read this, but I haven't seen too many people talk about it on BookTube. And it's not a completely like Christmas themed book. The reason it's called One Day in December is that the event that kind of starts off the whole story that happens at the beginning of the book, it happens on a day in December, and then the book takes place over the course of like 10 years. So it doesn't always, you know, we're not always in December, and it's not always Christmas time, but like it kind of gives you that like cozy holiday vibes because the main event in the book happens when it's like snowing and stuff. And I think the end of the book is also in December to kind of like, you know, bring it back around. Bring it around town. But this book follows, I should probably say, this book follows this girl named Lori, I think. Lori, I think that's her name. But anyway, so one day she's on a bus home from work and she looks out the window and she sees this guy like on the platform for the bus or something, and like they lock eyes and they just have this immediate connection, and she's like, oh my god, that's my soulmate. And like, okay, yes, it's very insta love, but this book is great, okay? So they lock eyes and then he like runs to the bus to try to get on the bus to talk to her, but he doesn't make it in time, and then she's like, ugh, I'm never gonna see him again. And so for the next like year she thinks about that guy, she can't get him out of her head, and then her best friend, who like she's super close with, they live together, like they have been best friends forever, they're really close. She's having a Christmas party and she's like, oh, and you'll get to meet my new boyfriend. And then lo and behold, when they meet, her boyfriend is the guy that she saw on the platform, and like neither of them say anything to each other, so they both think that the other one forgot about them, but neither of them did. And there's just so much that happens in this book, and I really like it, and it's very cozy, so I definitely want to reread this when like this coming December. But yeah, I really like this book. So the next prompt is Hot Chocolate, your favorite childhood book, and I could have gone with a lot of options, but the one I went with is Flipped by Wendelin Van Draenen. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. This book I read probably for the first time in either grade 3 or 4, and I just reread it so often. I was obsessed with this book. I don't know if you could tell, but it's very worn out at this point. I don't know if you can see that, but and it's really short, so like I just kept rereading it. I was so obsessed with this book. I don't know if this book was popular or not, so if you've read this, please let me know because I was obsessed. So this book is about these two, I guess, kids named, what are their names? Bryce and Juliana, and they meet when they're around 7, I think, because Juliana moves in to Bryce's neighborhood, and as soon as they meet, Juliana develops this huge crush on Bryce, and she's like super obsessed with him, and she doesn't try to hide her crush, like everybody knows. She has this huge crush on Bryce, and she just wants to be around him all the time. She's like just very obsessive, and he thinks she's super annoying. And then the book progresses over like the next, I don't know how many years. I mean, I haven't read this in so long, but I think they do end up in high school or maybe middle school. And as time goes by and as Juliana kind of becomes more mature and she kind of realizes like, hey, I've been obsessed with this guy for years, he clearly doesn't like me, so she kind of starts to get over him. But at the same time, Bryce starts to realize that maybe he likes her, so they flip. That's why it's called Flipped. And it's so cute. And this is probably the first like romance that I ever shipped when I was little, and I was like, oh, I like, what is romance? I don't know, you know, as a little like 8-year-old. Yeah, I don't know, this book, I've never gotten rid of my copy because it just brings back really good memories, and it's probably the first book that I was like really obsessed with, and I just think it's really cute. So if anyone has read this book, please let me know. I would love to gush about this with someone. But yeah. So the next prompt is Double Shot of Espresso, a book that had you on the edge of your seat from start to finish, and for this I chose An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I've seen this book become more popular recently, which I'm really happy about because this book is really good. I still need to continue on with the series, but I read this back in March and I really liked it. And this book is definitely very fast-paced. Like, there's just so much going on in this book, especially near the end, that you're just like, you just need to know what happens. So I'm not very good at explaining what this is about, but basically in this kind of empire, maybe I'll read you the back and then you can understand, because I won't be able to explain it. So it says, under the Martial Empire, defiance is met with death. Leia and her family do not challenge the Empire. They've seen what happens to those who do. But when Leia's brother is arrested for treason, she is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them from within the Empire's greatest military academy. There, Leia meets Elias, the school's finest soldier, not shoulder, and secretly its most unwilling. He and Leia will soon realize that their destinies are intertwined and that their choices will change the fate of the Empire itself. So there you go, that's what it's about. It's really great and I really recommend it. I definitely want to pick up the second book soon, but if you're looking for a really fast-paced book, then I highly recommend. Okay, so the next prompt is Starbucks, a book that you see everywhere, and I went with a book that I've been seeing everywhere like very recently in the past week, and that is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I mean, it seems like literally everyone is reading this book right now, and I just don't really have too much interest in it. Like, I did read Twilight back in the day when it was really popular, and like I liked it at the time, but I don't think it's a very good series. I don't think it's very well written. The movies obviously are trash, and I feel like I just don't really need to read the first book again, like the exact same story just from Edward's point of view. Like, I don't think I want that. So I mean, I'm glad everyone's excited, even though Stephenie Meyer is definitely problematic, but I don't think I'm gonna read it. It's definitely the one I've seen talked about the most lately. So the next prompt is hipster coffee shop, give a shout out to an indie author, and I don't think I know any. Like, I mean, I don't really know when authors are indie and when they're not. I should definitely like look into that stuff and make an effort to seek out indie authors and read their books, but it's something I've never really thought about, and I definitely need to change that. So if anyone has any recommendations for books written by indie authors, please let me know, and I will definitely check them out, because I am a little embarrassed that I can't even think of anyone. So yeah, please please let me know. The next prompt is, oops, I accidentally ordered decaf, which I think is funny. A book that you expected more of. And the book I chose, it's not even a book that I didn't like. I gave this book 4 stars, and I do recommend it to people, but it was so hyped and I was expecting more of it. So that book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I think that's how you say his last name. And before I read this book, all everybody was talking about was the huge plot twist that happens at the end of this book. Oh my god, they couldn't believe this huge plot twist that happens. And so I was expecting like the greatest plot twist I've ever read in my life. And like, the plot twist, I didn't see it coming, but also like, I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't believe this. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And that was about it. Like, I was a little underwhelmed by the plot twist because everyone hyped it up so much, and I was like, yeah, like, I was shocked, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this plot twist, I can't believe this. Like, I don't know, it definitely wasn't the greatest plot twist I've ever read, and so I was a little underwhelmed by it because I was like, oh, this is what everyone was freaking out about, and I don't know, I kind of wish I was as shocked as everyone else seemed to be. So the last prompt is, what is it? A Perfect Blend, a series that is both bitter and sweet but ultimately satisfying, and for that I went with the Raven Cycle series by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, I generally really like this series. I gave all of them 4 stars, except for the third one I gave 5 stars. I would say, like, I read these in, oh wow, it's been like a year. I was gonna say I read these in September, which I realized was almost a year ago. Oh my god, it does not feel like that long ago. Anyways, I just had like an existential crisis. But yeah, so I need to like recover from that. But I did really like this series as a whole. There were some, like, I found with every single book there were parts that I was really into and parts that I found more boring, and it also was kind of confusing a lot of the time. The third book I really liked, and especially the ending of the third book I really liked. I found the fourth book, like, the way it ended was pretty underwhelming. So I would say that, like, there were really good parts of the series, there were some mediocre parts, but overall it is a series that I did really enjoy. So that is it for my coffee book tag. I hope you guys liked this video. I completely forgot to think of people to tag, so I'm just gonna say some people that I'm thinking of right now because I didn't think of this ahead of time. I don't know if any of these people were already tagged, and if you were, I'm really sorry, but I'm just thinking of you right now. So I'm gonna tag Sasha from the Redhead Reader, I'm gonna tag Mick from Mickless Writes, and I'm gonna tag Edis from Read Me Free. And anyone else who wants to do this tag, I'll tag you. I will link those people down below if you guys want to check them out because they're amazing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Bye!